Thank you. I'd like to submit that for,
This is a unanimous consent request to insert into the record
Yes,
an
that
article
article.
entitled Fraud Plagues Biden Parole Program. Michelle Obama's passport used dead people named sponsors.
correct, sir.
Thank you. Without objection. Mr. Tiffany.
Director, there's significant fraud that's happened in the Afghan SIV program. There's a bribery scheme that was identified by the Department of Justice and brought to light where they're submitting fraudulent letters recommending SIVs to the State Department. Are you familiar with those SIV cases that are being taken care of fraudulent, where there's fraudulent applications being put in?
Thank you. I am familiar with the issue. I'm not sure I can go into detail given the investigation.
How widespread is it?
Again, it would be, it's not something that I
Why
can get
can't
into publicly.
you can't answer the question because you don't know the answer, or you're saying you're hiding behind a legal shield?
I think in an appropriate setting, I think I'd be happy to get back with you on that.
What would be an appropriate setting?
I think that given the investigation you've noted, I think it would be really important for us to do that.
Mr. Chairman, I think that that's something we should take into consideration as we go forward. Do you think there's national security concerns with this?
So let me start by saying in our Afghan programs, U.S.
So I got a lot of questions.
Okay.
Do you think there are national security concerns, considering this is Afghanistan, the bullseye for terrorism concerns in the world? Do you think there's national security concerns?
With regard to each application before us, we take every case we review, case by case. We run them against our security and vetting systems.
Do you believe there's national security concerns with the Afghans when there are Afghans coming in fraudulently with fraudulent applications? The Department of Justice has referred them. They know this is happening. Don't you think that there's national security concerns?
The security and vetting and the safety of the American people is number one for us.
Will you revet, so these people that have been identified, will your agency revet them now that you know some of them have submitted fraudulent applications?
We look at every case before us, any request before us, and use the strongest security and vetting we have available for whatever threat may or may not be in front of us. That is a connection that we have with our law enforcement and intelligence partners.
This is the strongest vetting when you have the Department of Justice that's forwarding these cases now saying, these are being done fraudulently. You know, Mr. Chairman, I think this is part of the reason why the other side was saying, we've completed 10 million cases. Not hard to commit 10 million cases when you're not reviewing them. I want to change topics a little bit here. Do you think the children of foreign tourists should receive citizenship?
The children of foreign tourists,
Do you think they should receive citizenship? Let me give you a context so you can
okay,
answer.
I'm not quite understanding
Since
your question.
2009, communist Chinese passport holders have been permitted to sidestep the U.S. visa requirements to enter the Northern Mariana Islands through categorical parole. My first question is, the Department of National Intelligence says Communist China is the greatest national security threat to the United States. Do you agree with DNI on that Communist China is our greatest threat?
I'm not a foreign policy expert.
I think most people would say that's probably the case. And so why is the administration allowing this to continue, where it is not required of a Chinese communist national coming into the Northern Mariana Islands without a visa, having a child, and that child becomes a citizen? Do you think that should be the case?
Congressman,
there are more children being born via birth tourism on the Mariana Islands right now than there are domestic children being born because of that loophole. They don't even have to have a visa to come in here. And here's a Chinese national, maybe affiliated with the Communist Party, that is able to get citizenship for their child. I'm just going to close with this, Director. I'm going to ask you the Vice President Harris question. First of all, you're a political appointee, right?
yes. Yes.
Yeah. Do you have any regrets over what's happened over the last 4 years with the open borders policies in all its different ways here in America?
I am proud of the efforts that this administration has made with regard to its efforts.
So you have no
on the
regrets?
Southwest border.
You have no regrets?
Again,
The largest, I'm just going to close with this.
Sure.
You have been part of the largest human trafficking operation since slavery in the United States of America. It is the people of the United States voted for change on November 5th, and we can only pray, Mr. Chairman, that it happens soon.
Mr. Correa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.